opener? What do you seek out of an opener besides obviously the victory?
Well, I mean, that's the biggest thing. That's the key. Once you get the win, I mean, if you win by 1 or 2 or 45, you know, it's a win. But we just want to look, hopefully to get out and see how good we really are. Guys hype us up defensively, offensively, but go against other opponents other than your own teammates. You want to see how the guys react, in adverse situations. When in camp you can reset the clock, but in a real game you can't. So if we happen to get down on Thursday, which I hope we don't, we want to see how guys react in those kind of situations.
That's what I was going to ask you. I mean, you've got, obviously there's a lot of veterans back on defense, but there's a lot of new starters and stuff. Do you want to see how the chemistry
most definitely
operates under pressure, so to speak?
And practice, like I said, you can start things over, you can blow a whistle and have guys start over again. But in the game, you want to see, how well the guys gel together, how well our new safeties going to play, when they haven't been on the field as much as, Anderson Russell and Kurt Coleman we had in the last couple of years. So you want to see how those guys play under the lights with 105,000 without the coaches out there screaming at you, but you have fans and those guys watching you.
Who is the guy in camp that people haven't really seen a lot of that you think they will defensively?
Offense or defense?
Defensively.
Defensively?
And then give me the offense number or whatever, because you go against those guys.
Probably Solomon Thomas too. He's a guy that he's playing very well, and most people they've seen him, in the spring, and people say, well, he could be a great player. But I think he's done a great job of stepping up with Nathan Williams out and making plays and getting sacks, and even dropping back in coverage and making plays.
And then on offense, who's that guy that you think is definitely going to turn heads if he gets a shot?
I'll say Jordan Hall. That dude, man. Like I said, I saw him run the other day, and I was like, who the heck is that? And I was like, oh, that's Jordan Hall. He looks a lot faster. He's a quick, shifty dude, kind of like the guys from Oregon. I would compare him to.
Michael James?
Yeah, most definitely. And he's a great blocker. He's not the biggest guy, but you wouldn't expect him to block as well as he does. But he's a great blocker as well as running.
How does this group of running backs stack up in terms of receiving? I mean, you guys have to defend them. It seems like a lot of guys going out.
Right.
These days, those running backs.
Our coaches do a great job offensively putting those guys out in routes, and I would say B. Sane would probably be the best pass catcher that I've had to go against, and hardest guy to guard. He's fast. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
You don't expect him to be so shifty, but our coaches do a great job of getting those guys out in pass routes, and they do a great job against our defense catching the ball.
It seemed like Hall and Zach Bourne and all these guys. It seems like a lot more involved.
And Zach, I would say that was the biggest surprise for me. Being a big blocking fullback, he catches the ball very well. And I told him, I said, man, he got to be the best fullback I've seen in a long time. and he catches the ball well, he blocks well, and then once you get the ball in his hands, just watch out because he's a big man.
Yeah.
How tough has it been to prepare for this Marshall team, considering you don't know exactly what offense you're going to be seeing?
It's very hard. You got to look at FIU's offense. You have to look at Purdue back in '07 when the offensive coordinator started. But we focus on the personnel a lot because the personnel won't change. Offensive line going to be the offensive line, the quarterback. But we just look at what are the tendencies, what do the coaches like to do, and if you look at from FIU, from Purdue to FIU, they run a spread offense. I mean, I think that's going to be a given. But who's going to be at what positions, and that's something that's unknown. Will there be a fast tempo offense, slow tempo? They didn't show much under center, so we don't know if we're going to get that. But we just focus on like I said, the personnel and what we do. It comes down to what we do, how we play on defense, and then are we intact with our defense, or how do we gel together? That's going to determine that game.
I know it's a season opener, but I mean, also Miami's looming, and people are looking at that. How do you keep this team focused on just this game?
We let guys know that that week's going to bring his own worries. We're going to worry about Marshall because if we for 1 second look to a Miami game, then we'll end up in the situation we were last year with Purdue. Overlooking those guys and coming away with the loss. So I think the seniors and older guys did a great job of talking to the younger guys and just keeping it in their heads that Marshall is the game. If we overlook those guys, they're going to come in here to play. Regardless of their record last year or how bad people think they really are, they're going to come in and give us their A game. And if we don't play up to how we should, we're going to come away with the loss as well.
Does a night game help